students, welcome back. We are discussing about the parts of the flower: calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. These parts we are discussing. Already we have discussed about the calyx and corolla, how they are arranged and types of them, and also their function we have already discussed. And today, and those two, actually the calyx and corolla, those two together called as non-essential parts of the flower. Why? Because those two parts, that is calyx and corolla, sepals and petals, are not directly participating in the sexual reproduction of the plant, but they are help in the sexual reproduction. That's calyx prepare the food and provide to the all other parts of the flower. Corolla attracts the insects for pollination. So those two parts are together called as non-essential parts of the flower, or we can say that accessory parts of the flower. And whereas another two parts of the flower like androecium and gynoecium, stamens and pistil, these two are, as they are participating directly in the sexual reproduction by producing the male gamete from the stamens and female gamete from the pistil, and the fusion of male gamete and female gamete produces the fertilized egg called as zygote, and the zygote develops into embryo, embryo develops into seed. Okay, this is the sexual reproduction that takes place in the flower. And these two parts, androecium as well as the gynoecium, or stamen and pistil, these two parts are the parts that are directly participating in the sexual reproduction of the plant. So these two parts of the flower are together called as essential parts of the flower. Okay, and today we are going to discuss about one of the essential parts of the flower, that is androecium. And I am taking only one topic here to give you more information about that part with the details, complete detailed information. Okay. So this lesson is very important, and this lesson may be repeated in your second PU biology. Okay. So that's why listen, watch the video very carefully, write the important parts which are said in the video, which are mentioned in the video. Okay, understand? Today we are going to discuss about the essential part, one of the essential parts of the flower, that is androecium. Androecium, it's also called as stamen, and also said to be as male reproductive system. Androecium is also called as stamen and also said to be as male reproductive system of the flower, male reproductive system of the flower. Okay, and this androecium, that means the stamen is consisting of two major parts. Okay, that is stamen. If you take the stamen, It is the male reproductive part which produces the male gametes. Those are called as pollen grains. The male gametes are called as pollen grains. Male gametes are called as pollen grains, and the stamen is containing of two major parts. Okay, the long stalk-like structure, this is called as filament. The long stalk-like structure is called as filament, and at the end of this long stalk-like structure, which is very much showy and ornamental in nature, this is called a bulb-like projection is presented there. This is called as anther. So this anther and filament together called as stamen. Anther and filament together called as stamen. And this anther is a modified leaf-like structure, which is also called as microsporangia. Microsporangia. And it produces the microscopic balls-like structures called as pollen grains or microspores. These pollen grains are also called as microspores. And this anther is also said to be as microsporangia. Because it produces the microspores. Okay, and these microspores are called as pollen grains, and these have the male nucleus. And that is the male gamete which fertilize or fusion with the female gamete at the time of sexual reproduction. Okay. So this is the anther and the filament together called as the stamen. Let us see the structure of the anther. The filament will hold the anther firmly in a various places. Okay, that we'll discuss later. And the anther, the structure of the anther, let us see. Okay, when you take the anther and cut horizontally, you might be finding this is the structure. This is the structure you find when you cut horizontally an anther. It is a combination of two lobes. It's a combination of two lobes. And each lobe is containing one pair of bag-like structures called as pollen sacs. And these pollen sacs are having the microscopic balls-like structures are called as pollen grains or microspores. These are called pollen grains. Or microspores, male gametes. Pollen grains are also called as male gametes. And around these pollen sacs, this total structure is completely composed of a connective tissue that is called as parenchyma cells. Parenchyma tissue will be presented here. Parenchyma. And it is connected in the center with a stalk that is called as a filament. Okay, and this is called as connective. These two lobes are connected together. These two lobes are connected together with a connective tissue that is called as a connective. These are the major parts. When These pollen sacs are matured. These pollen sacs are matured and these will be ruptured and opened. These will be ruptured and opened, so the pollen grains will fall down. And these will be traveled by the agents of the biotic agents as well as the non-biotic. We will discuss about the topic in the next. Pollination, the time of pollination, transferring of pollen grains from anther to stigma. So that we will discuss later. Okay, this will be ruptured and opened, and all the pollen grains will be come out when these pollen sacs are completely matured. Okay, until their maturation, the pollen grains will get the food supply from the parenchyma. And this parenchyma, it is a tissue which is formed around the vicellaries of the complete pollen grains, the pollen sacs. And as I told you that the calyx will prepare the food and provide the food to the pollen grains until they mature. Okay, understand? And this is about the structure of the anther. And based on the phylum, this pollen grain structure, let us discuss about the pollen grain structures. Structure of the pollen grain. Structure of pollen grain. If you take the pollen grain, usually the pollen grains spherical in structure and triangular in shape, and some cases rod-like structures also will be present. That means the pollen grains are, the shape of the pollen grain is very different from different flowers. Okay, let us very common structure, that is spherical, round in shape, and spicules also presented, small spikes like structures are presented around this. Small spicules like structures are presented, or spikes like structures are presented. Okay, of course these spike like structures are presented only in a few pollen grains, not all the pollen grains. Some of them are triangle in shape, some of them are very much small spherical in shape, and some of them are rod like shapes. These are the different shapes of pollen grains. But whatever the shape it is, the structure of the pollen grain is like this. When you take the structure of the pollen grain, it is spherical, as I told you that it is having two layers in it. Two layers are presented there. Outermost layer is called exine. Outermost layer is called as exine. It is very much rigid in nature. Very much rigid. Rigid means not flexible. It is very much thick and strong, rigid. And but it has some depressions. Some depressions are presented right at the right intervals. Some depressions are presented like this. place where the depressions are presented. Some depressions are presented. These depressions are called as germ pores. These depressions are called as germ pores. Where the depressions are there, the thickness of the exine will be very less. It is very thin at the place of depressions. Notches will be presented there, and these notches are called as germ pores. And the innermost layer is called as intine. It is very thin and flexible, made of cellulose. It is very thin and flexible, made of cellulose. Okay. So inside this pollen grain, there are two nuclei with two cells are presented in the pollen grain. Two cells are presented in the pollen grain in various sizes. One is big in size, another one is small in size. Two cells are presented in the pollen grain. One is large in size, another one is small in size. The large cell is called as vegetative cell. And small one is called as germ cell. The small one contains the nucleus, which is called as male nucleus. That is a germ cell. Okay. At the time of pollination, the pollen grain will be travel from one flower to another flower and settled at the stigma of the flower. We will learn about the stigma of the flower, and the intine where the germ pore is presented, there the intine develops into long tube-like structure. This vegetative cell, what is presented here, this will be along with this intine layer, this will be leading the intine layer to form the pollen tube. Form the pollen, long tube-like structure will be formed. And it is run along with this stigma and style and reaches the ovary. So this pollen grain will carry the germ cell. This is the vegetative cell. It is also called as a tube cell. And this, at the time of pollination, this tube cell will be formed the pollen tube with the help of this intine, and the germ cell will be traveling along with this pollen tube and reaches the ovary of the flower. That is a gynoecium, pistil. Ovary of the flower, there the fertilization will be taking place. Okay, that we will discuss in the next topics, that is pollination and fertilization topic. We will discuss about the this fertilization as well as the pollination very detailed. Okay, this is the complete structure of the pollen grain. Once again I repeat that it has the two layers. Outer layer is called as exine, inner layer is called as intine. Exine is the non-flexible and rigid, very strong, and but it contains some notches, depressions are presented there. Those depressions are called as germ pores. Where the germ pores are there, the thickness of this exine will be less. Okay, and inside this pollen grain, two cells are presented there. One is vegetative cell, another one is a germ cell. Vegetative cell is also called as a tube cell, as it forms the pollen tube. At the time of fertilization, the pollen tube will be formed by this tube cell as well as the intine, inner layer, and the male nucleus, that is germ cell, will be traveling along this tube cell, pollen tube. This is called pollen tube, and reaches the ovary for fertilization. This is the structure of the pollen grain. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the various types of the androecium stamens. Various types of the stamens. As I told you that the anthers, filament and anther. Let me draw here the filament and anther. We can draw here. This is the very good. This is the filament, anther. This is anther. This is filament. So this filament attached to the anther in various places of the anther. So based on that attachment of the filament at the anther, based on this characteristic, the stamens are different types. That is basifixed, adnate, dorsifixed, versatile. There are the four types of stamens. This is based on the way the filament is attached to the anther. These four types are based on the way the filament is attached to the anther. That is basifixed, adnate, dorsifixed and versatile. Let me explain what are these. First of all, basifixed. That means this is the anther and the filament is fixed at base. The filament is fixed at base. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. The filament is fixed at base, so it is basifixed. This is 1, basifixed. And adnate. The filament is attached to the anther from top to bottom. This is anther. This is filament. This is 2. Adnate. If the filament is attached to the anther from top to bottom completely, that is called as a adnate condition of the stamen. Okay. And next one is dorsifixed. So this is the anther. This is the anther, and the filament is attached at the back of the anther. At the back of the anther. This is the third one, dorsifixed, back side of the anther. Somewhere it's the back side of the anther, it is attached. It will be like this, oblique in shape. Okay. This is third, that is dorsifixed. Next to versatile of the this stamen. In this, the anther is free movement, and somewhere the filament is attached at a point. The filament attached at the back side in a point. So that what happened here, the anther can rotate 360-degree angle. The anther can rotate 360-degree angle. That is called versatile. So basifixed, it is you can find the basifixed example is mustard plant. Example is mustard, and adnate example is magnolia, dorsifixed fixed example is acacia versatile is rice, grass, all monocot plants, almost monocot plants are having the versatile arrangement of the stem, filament and anther. Okay. So, this is the types of stamen based on the attachment of the filament at the anther. Okay. And also because of the arrangement of the stamen, and that means fusing of the stamen or fusing of anthers or fusing of filaments, these stamens are different categories. Let me say those also. Types of stamen based on the fusing and free. Types of stamen. Polyandrous, the first one is the polyandrous. Polyandrous, monoadelphous, diadelphous, polyadelphous, synandrous, syngenesis, syngenesis, okay, these are the 6 types of stamen we can find in the various flowers. Let me explain. Polyandrous. In this condition of the flower, all the stamens are free. All the stamens are free condition. That is called polyandrous. Poly means many, androecium are presented, stamens are presented, but all of them are free. They are not attached to each other. That is polyandrous. And come to the next one. This is this polyandrous condition we can find in the plant called as brassica. Brassica plant we can find the polyandrous. All the filaments, all the anthers, all the stamen are free. They are not attached to each other. Okay. Next one is monoadelphous. And all the monoadelphous, if you take this is the staminal node, staminal tube, and all these filaments and anthers are fused to the staminal node. Filaments and anthers are fused to the staminal node. This is the staminal node. Sorry, staminal tube. Staminal tube. All the filaments, this is the filament, and this is the anther. All the filaments and anthers are fused with the staminal tube. This condition is called as monoadelphous, and this we can find in the hibiscus, China rose, hibiscus. Okay, and come to the next one, that is a diadelphous. And in this condition, all the filaments of the stamens are fused into two bundles, that will be like this. So this is the filament, this is the anther. So in this condition, all the filaments are fused together, form two bundles. This is the one bundle and this is the another bundle. This we can see in the pea plant. Here I will write pea plant, pea flower. Here once again I repeat, all the filaments are fused together. Anthers are free only, but the filaments are fused together, form two bundles. That is called diadelphous. Pea flower, you can find this type of condition. Okay, and come to the next one, polyadelphous. Polyadelphous. In this condition, all the filaments are fused together. The anthers are free. All the filaments are fused together, form the more than two bundles. That is called polyadelphous. An example is lemon flower, or citrus. Lemon also called as citrus flower. Citrus category, whatever comes, lemon, sweet lemon or orange, these all will become under the category of citrus fruits, and those are flowers, citrus flowers will be having the polyadelphous condition in the stamens. All the filaments are fused together, form the more than two bundles. Okay, that is polyadelphous. And come to the next one, synandrous. Synandrous. This is the condition where all the filaments are fused together, not filaments, all the filaments as well as the anthers. Filaments as well as the anthers, right from the top to bottom, they are fused together, form as a cylindrical shape. Like this, it will be, the synandrous will be like this. All the filaments are fused together. This is called synandrous. Very easily you can find this one, synandrous condition. In this, all the filaments as well as the anthers are fused together, form as a cylindrical shape. This is called synandrous, and this we can find in the pumpkin flower. All the cucurbita, pumpkin, as well as bottle gourd, angular gourd, these all comes under the category of this synandrous stamens will be presented there. Condition of the flower, synandrous, means all the filaments as well as the anthers will be fused together, top to bottom, and form the cylindrical shape. This is called synandrous. And come to the next one is syngenesis. This we can find in the sunflower as well as marigold flower. Okay, and in this condition, all the filaments are free. Let me draw it. The syngenesis, that is anthers are fused together. All the anthers are fused together. This is the anthers. All the anthers are fused together, but the filaments are free. The filaments are free. This is called syngenesis condition of the flower. In this, all the anthers are fused together, but all the filaments are free in each other. Okay, free to each other. Filaments. So this is the total types of the stamens. Okay, this syngenesis we can find in the sunflower as well as the marigold. Okay, I hope you understood this one, and next video we are going to discuss about the gynoecium. This is a very important one. You must and should watch the video twice or thrice and write the important points. Okay, thank you very much.